And that's what a destroyed inbox looks like. What's going on, everybody? This is the Cover Band Confidential Podcast, the podcast for cover band musicians and band leaders to learn how to rock more and suck less. In Atlanta, Georgia, I'm Adam Johnson.
In Greensboro, North Carolina, I'm Dan Ray.
This week, we asked you guys to do something, and you did it.
It's amazing.
So,
it's amazing. Maybe that's the secret. Say, here's the thing to tell us, and tell us it.
Yeah. It's crazy. So it actually became very clear that the topic for this week should be your guys' input, because there's a lot of it.
Yep.
And I think it'd be interesting and fun to talk about. So how's it going?
Oh, all good. All good. Still prepping for the St. Patrick's Day show Saturday before St. Patrick's. My bassist finger is healing, and he thinks he'll be able to play, and so that's good. And just doing the work for that. What you up to?
We're trying to figure out the next time the band can get in a room and start making some noise. Been having a lot of fun just texting ideas, with this 90s thing being out in the forefront. There's a lot of fresh stuff. So yeah, just trying to figure out what we could do to make the show more interesting and like cool ideas. And that's kind of been one of the brighter points in my day, just getting text messages with fun stuff to put into the show. So
that is fun.
Yeah, the next step is just making it happen.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. The rehearsals that aren't really rehearsals, but are like hang out and have ideas and throw songs around. That's my favorite. That's my favorite.
Yeah.
Prepping a set list you've already got for a show is, that's kind of the work. The play is like, oh gosh, remember this one? I love those.
Yeah. Yeah. As opposed to like we haven't played in a couple of weeks and we need to get in this room and work out these songs because the gig is tomorrow.
Right. Do we still remember anything? Yeah.
Less of those and more of the low stakes, high fun situations.
Yeah. Good.
Speaking of low stakes and high fun, let's go to reviews. I feel like I'm really getting close to this.
The segue thing is, you got to keep working it. I think we're getting there.
I'm almost there. I mean, I've never been closer.
And speaking of getting there, here's reviews.
All right. This one's from Kay. It says, witty and helpful. Dan and Adam, top billing, want to see their listeners succeed at whatever level they play the cover band game at. If cover band life is your hobby or profession, this show has something for you. Thanks, Kay, for the kind words. Please leave some more reviews. We love hearing from you guys. We could technically turn some of these emails into reviews because they also say nice things.
Yeah.
So we may just do that.
Yeah, could be.
Couple of housekeeping notes. Milestones, exciting things. As of this week, we hit 500,000 views on our YouTube channel.
Boom.
Which is a lot. The reason why I even thought about it was because my friend Emily in Get Offset posted that her channel just hit 2 million views. And I was like, I wonder what our views are at. So I went and I looked and I was like, well, wouldn't you know it?
Huh.
So Emily's a little further down the road than we are, but we're on our way. We're up and coming. We're
any big content that jumps out? Anything in particular that led the charge?
The things that tend to do the best are the musician react stuff. It's a sneaky way of making podcast content feel like YouTube content.
Right.
Where we talk about our opinions on things and you just say guitarists react or musicians react. But yeah, they're mostly podcast episodes or topics from the podcast that we've, kind of twisted into some other stuff.
That's good.
So yeah. It feels validating that like the thing that we've been doing this entire time is actually the thing that, people want to want to consume.
Yeah, that's handy.
It's a pretty good feeling.
Yeah.
The other just fun little note is that we charted in Hong Kong this week. That's never happened before.
Yeah.
It's pretty fun.
Go Hong Kong.
So if you're in Hong Kong, you're listening to us, I appreciate it. Or if you're one of our regular listeners who was just like dipping into Hong Kong and you just streamed our episode, 20, 30 times, I appreciate that too. It's all about just getting out there. And now, it's one less thing on the bucket list. Chart Hong Kong done.
Yep.
We can go to the next one.
Yep. Next country.
Let's go. All right. So we asked you guys about your first song opening set and your thought processes and your theories and things. And you guys just really came and hit us up and gave us really fun stuff to work with.
Yeah.
So super stoked on that. And so we just wanted to go through all of them. And for all of the reasons why you pick the songs you pick. And I've had to break them up into different channels of information. But for the most part, there's some overlap and everybody kind of has something to contribute. So I'm pretty stoked to go over these.
Excellent.
So first things first, got to the end of the episode and realized that I never said what we opened up with. So I'm going to go first.
Yes.
Because it's my show and I can do that. But with the 80s band, we opened up with Video Killed a Radio Star because it's the first song that was ever played on MTV. And so when we're doing just kind of the run-of-the-mill public show or whatever, that's what we open with. We've delved into other ones, but that's pretty much it.
It's good. Have you thought about what you're going to open the 90s show with?
Yes, we've been talking about that a little bit, and we've done it a couple of different ways. And actually, a lot of the contributions are from 90s bands. So
let's not step on them. Is that what you're saying?
I want to kind of
yeah. I'm with you.
There's an amalgamation of information
for sure
to consume.
For sure.
And then you had said that you guys start with
don't you forget about me.
Don't you forget about me, and then like Lovely Day.
Lovely Day comes,
Kind of is that the next one?
Second or third after that? Yeah,
Got it.
I try to put a Taylor song, my co-singer, in there, so it's not me opening with two. So I'll do something of hers, and then my second one's usually Lovely Day.
Perfect. So we'll go ahead and start in the Patreon group because they were the ones that sparked the conversation in the first place. So we're just going to go down the list. Mike Schulte, the Pork Tornadoes. You know what they open with? Somebody Told Me by the Killers.
Yeah.
And that's a good one. The intro kind of builds, which is kind of a cool way to get things going.
Yeah.
And it's got some urgency and some energy to it.
And knowing the Tornadoes, they push that, and the Pork Tornadoes move is to build the song into big rock and then pull it way back and then slam you with it again. That's kind of the shape of their tunes. So I can see that working well for that one.
Mark Budwit, his band opens up with Don't Bring Me Down by ELO.
I got to tell you, I never have, and that feels like such an ambitious choice to me. I'd love to do it. Sounds like fun. Kind of inspired to see that on the list, but I've never done it.
I've had bands that tried it, and I don't know. It may have made it out of the rehearsal once or twice, but yeah, we either couldn't quite nail it or just it didn't connect. Yeah. But it is. I mean,
I guess it's all guitar, isn't it? It's not like heavy synthy orchestra like a lot of ELO is.
Yeah, but it's so vocally like dense.
True.
Everything's double, triple stacked. It's pretty big.
And you got to figure out what the word is. If it's Bruce or Groose or something.
It's a fun one.
Yeah.
Josh from Rising Phoenix. He's in basically a hair metal tribute, or just really kind of 80s rock tribute. They open up with Panama. I mean,
killer.
You could do worse.
Killer. I mean that.
He did say.
Sorry, I was going to say the intro riff of Panama is like the intro riff of all hair rock. I hear it. I hear it perfectly. I think it's an awesome choice.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. We do it. It's typically a second set for us, but I can see it doing the same job as an opener.
It's a wake-up call.
Kevin Sabat from Uncle Jesse, they're doing Life as a Highway, and when prompted about which version, it's like, well, we kind of do like a hybrid. We do a little bit of one and a little bit of the other. So they pay tribute to the original while also honoring the modern interpretation of Rascal Flatts.
Okay.
It's pretty good one. Kevin Nace from the Alibis, they do Beer Never Broke My Heart by Luke Combs. That's one way to do it.
Yeah.
Michael Harris from Diamond Avenue, they do Blitzkrieg Bop by the Ramones, which is coming out pretty strong.
It is. Yeah.
You've got to really be willing to keep that energy level going right after that. Let's see. Brandon Patrick, his band does Open Up Your Eyes by Tonic, which is one of my favorite songs. It's earnest and it rocks. It's kind of heavy, but it's not too fast. Like, I think that's a really cool way to ease your audience into it. It's not necessarily the most obvious choice. It's probably their second or third single, but man, every band I played in, I've always loved doing it.
Cool.
Super rad. Dennis Patrick from Smoking Gun, they alternate Keep Your Hands to Yourself, Georgia Satellites, that's a good one. And then Smoking Gun is a co-ed group, and so they also sometimes open up with Last Name by Carrie Underwood, which is a pretty fun one. It's about making poor decisions. And so, you're doing that at a bar gig, you're kind of setting the tone.
Yeah.
Adam Z from You've Got 90s, they either open up with Blink-182's Damn It or EMF's Unbelievable, which I have always wanted to do. Mm-hmm. That's a super fun one.
Yep.
And then Jason Adler from After 7 Tucson, he said they do Take It Easy, Route 66, or It's All Been Done, which is a pretty wide swath of selections.
Yeah, interesting.
You're going like classic rock, oldies, or 90s, if that's the Bare Naked Ladies tune. Which I think it is. They're all fun, but fun in their very, very different ways.
But I mean, I like that you can tailor it to an audience. That's important.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, having options where you can kind of read the room. Good stuff. All right, let's move over to Instagram. There was a couple of those. The 77s band at the 77s _band. So we open with The Rock Show by Blink-182 or All the Small Things. Generally get things off to a good start.
Yep.
Got a sneaking suspicion they are either a pop punk group or a 90s group. Mike, who's a buddy of mine, he's got a pop punk email group called My Chemical Bromance. You can find them at My Chemical Bromance _band.
Great.
They open with Sweetness by Jimmy Eat World. because it says he literally asks the crowd if they're listening, which is a good way to get their attention. Let's see. YouTube got Shane's Queen site. They open up with Now I'm Here by Queen. Scott Hall 1998 opened up with Final Countdown. Now, it's actually, I've heard multiple groups say that they open up with the Final Countdown.
I think that opening keyboard riff is very iconic and attention-getting. Boy, it feels like a closer to me, though.
I don't think it's a closer. I think the amount of time it takes, that might be one of the longest intros of all time.
Yeah, if you don't count foreplay.
I don't know. I think it may be longer. Yeah, it's got to be almost over a minute before it kicks in. I was really shocked by the number, like the sheer volume of people who mentioned the Final Countdown, because this isn't the only one that mentioned it, like by a long shot.
Yeah.
But I guess the folks like it.
Yeah. It has the same effect around 80s pop that Panama has around 80s hair metal, right?
Yeah.
The intro is like the same kind of iconic, like, oh my God, they're playing that moment. I get it having the same effect.
We had somebody that was really obsessed with us doing Heat of the Moment by Asia. And that one's, I don't know. I think that would be a cool idea because it comes in really big.
Yep.
And you can do any solo over the one that's on the record because it's so terrible. It's really bad. For all of the great things from the 80s, there were a lot of bad guitar solos.
Yeah.
And that was definitely one of them.
Yeah.
Not important. Moving on. FTF John is currently set to Tie Your Mother Down. So it's the second Queen entry.
Yep.
Because we can play it with a lot of energy. About to change it, though, to something more well-known. So maybe the audience isn't connecting with it. They don't recognize it. I mean, I'd be stoked to hear Tie Your Mother Down.
Yeah. I mean, for like a radio Queen fan, though, that's pretty deep cut.
Yeah. For the run-of-the-mill fan, that may be a little more than they're able to onboard. Next one, Autofill, which is OTTO Phil.
Nice.
PHIL. That's pretty funny. Currently, it's absolutely Story of a Girl. And then previously, it was My Own Worst Enemy, straight into All the Small Things. And since they are clearly a 90s band, they also say that on Halloween, they have opened with Dragula by Rob Zombie. Which that'd be pretty fun to do.
That'd work.
Billy Lyons says Yellow by Coldplay, which is an interesting choice, I think.
Yeah.
I guess it really does boil down to what kind of show you run.
For sure. I mean, you're coming in mellow, but super recognizable.
It's probably one of the more well-known, really, 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 really sad songs.
Yes.
Can you think of any other sad songs that are more popular or more people know about it? Maybe Fast Car Now.
Fast Car Now, for sure.
That's probably the only one that can top it that I can think of.
Well, we do Black Velvet. That's arguably a sad song.
Yeah, that's a pretty good one. I mean, you could probably pick almost any Phil Collins song. It's going to be sad in some way.
Sure.
Coverbandconfidential@gmail.com. What do you think is the most popular, saddest song?
There you go.
We're really crushing this.
Since we're on a roll, with emails and contact, do it.
So we're going to move to the emails. I wanted to give the kind of the shorter answers first, since some people were kind enough to write a bunch of stuff. First up, Ken said our opening song is "Bad Moon Rising" by Creedence Clearwater Revival. Great song.
Great one.
It's also kind of one of those things where it's like hinting at maybe some bad decisions are going to be made. And that's definitely, some people are into that.
Yeah. But you're establishing genre right out of the gate, right? There's like, I think a lot of bands might play Creedence, but that one in particular is going to be more of a, again, classic rocky sort of deep cut that is not that deep, but not rock stuff that Creedence did.
Yeah.
So
not the first one you think.
Yeah.
Unless they're doing the Me First and the Gimme Gimme versions where they go to double time during the choruses.
Yeah.
That's pretty fun. All right. This next one is from John. Our last 3-set club gig opened with The Other Side by Aerosmith, kind of a deep cut. Mm-hmm. Our last 2-hour single set gig opened with The Final Countdown.
There you go.
So a lot of folks. It's out there. Let's see here. Jeff wrote, "Hey guys, loved your most recent episode. We are playing our first gig tomorrow with a new singer, and our first song of the set is Spooky by Atlanta Rhythm Section." Pretty interesting choice.
Yeah.
The thought behind the choice is no one usually dances the first song, but it would give an impression of what the band can do as far as musicianship goes. So by the end of the first set, we'll do Talk to You Later by the Tubes. Keep up the great work on the videos, gear, reviews, and podcasts. Yeah,
so Jeff is leaning into the theory I posited, which is that the first set is just going to be that way, and you should make the most of it and, make hay from people listening but not being up on you. Yeah, it's a good theory.
The last one here is from Tom. Says, hi guys, great episode as always. We generally open our sets with Learn to Fly by the Foo Fighters, which we have done before.
Love
It's
it.
pretty good.
Yeah, I love it.
If we're playing to an older crowd, we'll open with You Can't Always Get What You Want by the Rolling Stones. Kind of a, it's a cool choice. Regarding set lists and adding new songs, I'd like to get your thoughts so we actually can have a little conversation here.
Oh.
I've always felt if you're learning a new tune, it should only be for set 2 or 3, the more upbeat sets. Then it gives you the opportunity to move something from those sets to set 1, slowly making set 1 a stronger set. What do you think? Do you attest to the first thought process, which is if you're learning a song, it should only be in sets 2 or 3?
I've never had that thought. Now that it's been presented to me, let me think about it. I think the thing that I came out of last week feeling was that maybe there's just something to that early in the night before people are properly, lubricated, has a certain energy, and trying to fight that is pointless. And so you should make the most of it. And I think that there are songs you might want to add to that deliberately. I see no reason you should say, well, set 1 is my cast-offs. I don't think that's right. I think there are things you might choose to put in set 1 and learn and put there. So I think I'd prefer that attitude to like, I'm only going to onboard new set 3 bangers and then try and up bang my set 1, even though we kind of all know that's never really going to work. I think that's where I've landed after a conversation last week.
Yeah. So I see it from both sides of the argument because, it would be pretty smart of you to onboard bangers to your set, because the more bangers the more bangers you can play.
True.
You can really end your shows with a lot of zazz, a lot of energy, a lot of good stuff. But my thought process has always kind of been put the new songs towards the front of the show, mostly for the thought process of this could go not as intended.
Yeah.
And you don't want to drop the energy on its head towards the end of the night. For
sure. Yeah, the stakes are lower in the earlier part of the night, so you try out new stuff there. That makes sense too.
Yeah. So that's typically what we would do. I think the last big song that we added was Simply Irresistible. And that still it's a second set song, but it's not necessarily, we've done it both ways. So you can kind of do it early second set. We've also done it late first set. It kind of does the same job either way. Because it's driving, the energy's good, and it's just cool. It's just a cool song. And so I don't think there should necessarily be any sort of hard rule about where new songs go.
Yeah.
But you should definitely learn songs that are bangers, and you should also be able or be willing to kind of experiment with new material and try to figure out where it fits over the course of the night, but maybe start it towards the beginning.
Yeah.
If you clam a part in the 4th song of a 30-song set, by the time you get to the last song, the clams have been eaten. There's no clam to be seen.
Clam's gone.
The clam's gone. They're off. The tide came out or in and pulled them. This is a metaphor that's working. And
this is working. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. The clams have swum away.
Yes. I saw some video where this comedian kept going at the end. It's like, that's pretty funny. You're basically willing whatever is happening to come into fruition. So I was like, this is working. Yeah. That's the confidence that I was trying to convey.
Yeah. No, the clam metaphor, he crushed.
Crushed clams. Nope, that's not a dish.
No.
All right, folks, that's it. If you want to be a part of the conversation, you can still send them in.
Yep.
Maybe at some point we can take all of this information and put it into some sort of machine learning algorithm, and it can you just tell the computer what kind of band you are, and it will just tell you what first song you should do.
Yeah. Yeah. Have you tried asking ChatGPT or something like that for set lists? Have you talked to it about that?
Yeah. No, I made there's a version of that on the YouTube.
Yeah.
I made a couple of and it was surprisingly okay.
Yeah.
As far as selection goes, the order was, even with additional prompts, it should generally increase the energy. It's just computers don't understand that.
I tried giving it a few songs with keys and BPMs, and it came back to me with a set list of additional songs that would fit that genre, whatever, with keys and BPMs that were completely wrong, not in the ballpark. So yeah, it doesn't know anything about song energies. That's not.
Well, and also there's not any sort of master repository of what key and what tempo songs actually are. So the computer can only do what it can with the data that it's provided,
Yeah.
without any sort of
Actually,
accepted spot.
Spotify's API does have that.
Does it?
Yep. And it also scores things for danceability, acousticness, speechiness, various things like that. But
kind
it's
of similar
not
to what you were using.
it is what I was using. Yeah.
Oh, okay. That's fair.
But I don't know that ChatGPT really got to that. They scraped data that kind of came in a different way than that. So I don't know. But
Yeah,
for sure, it was not able to tell me, superstition is an A. It didn't know that.
Yeah. I would also think that Spotify wouldn't want to give that information away to somebody for that specific purpose. So that's probably why it doesn't have it. Well, maybe that's our next venture is to, come up with the machine learning first song deal.
Maybe.
GPT. Fun stuff.
Yeah.
Maybe not. Anywho, we got gigs to prep for.
Yeah. What are we doing here?
I got guitars to play and chords to figure out and medleys to put together. I'll tell you this. Last night I was on TikTok and found this English group, these 4 English dudes that do live hip hop covers. So the cool thing is about if you're doing late 90s stuff is that it's all being sampled from Curtis Mayfield and Parliament and all that stuff. So lots of live instrumentation, and it was just they did really cool medleys, and so I'm definitely going to be scouring through their socials to put some fun stuff together.
Sweet.
Here's my thought, and we'll leave it on this. Being a 90s band, there's so much hip hop in that era that is so iconic, but you can't do it at a municipal event. You can't everybody wants to hear that sample for Good Day by Ice Cube. You can't do it. So the idea was that maybe at some point during our set, we'll be like, hey, we're going to play some music that you guys are probably familiar with, but you're here with your kids. So we'll just let you fill it out with your imagination while we go through this and then do a 2 to 5 minute medley
instrumental.
Of all those tunes.
Yeah, I like it. We used to do Fight for Your Right to Party.
Oh, yeah.
That one crushed.
That's normally our encore. So if they want us to come back, but again, it context matters. You're not going to do that. We're not going to do that one at a city event.
Yeah.
But bars and that kind of thing, that's the way to go.
Right.
This is such a fun conversation. I'm glad it got brought up. We can't thank our patrons enough for contributing to topics and stuff. And if you want to be a part of that community, super easy to do. $5 a month gets you in, and we're just hanging out.
Yep.
Just really awesome musicians who are crushing it, sharing what we know. Good stuff.
Super fun.
Folks, thanks so much for tuning in. We appreciate each and every one of you. If you'd like to support the show, listen to Mike. I don't normally recommend that, but in this case, you should listen to him. Mm-hmm. But I'll go ahead and call it for this week. In Atlanta, Georgia, I'm Adam Johnson.
In Greensboro, North Carolina, I'm Dan Ray.
You have been listening to the Cover Band Confidential podcast for the week of March 1st, 2024.